Alright, I am back for a new Destiny video, and not the one I thought I was going to be filming today. I had a whole thing planned to talk about how I was sympathetic to Keitel and her pleas to get us to join the Cabal, and then Bungie decided to drop a giant press release about a mega expansion of the studio, which obviously affects Destiny first and foremost, and just their future plans more generally. There's a lot of different components to this. It starts off with saying that Bungie is going to massively expand their headquarters in Seattle or near Seattle, and it's going to go from like 80,000 square feet to 200,000 square feet, so it's 2.5 times bigger. This is to accommodate both future expansions and also the fact that Bungie has grown incredibly rapidly over the past year, especially. It's been said that 25% of Bungie employees currently have never stepped foot in the studio because they were hired during pandemic lockdown, so they've been working from home this entire time. And obviously, they are going to continue to staff up to help with both Destiny and new IPs. They are also opening an office in Amsterdam, so they're becoming international. That's for marketing and production and stuff like that, and that is supposed to be happening in 2022 sometime. Pretty much what we're seeing here is Bungie wanting to be more of a BioWare or Bethesda or Blizzard or any of the other big B names in video game development, at least back when they were kind of in their prime, and they were, the places to be. Not all of them may not be at that point anymore, but that's where Bungie's trying to go with a kind of mega international expansion like this. And Evie, you just love distracting me, don't you? Yep, every time. uh, but that seems to be the plan here, and a literal physical expansion is part of that, as you kind of need to just get bigger as you continue to grow. What this is going to mean in practice is a whole other set of things. We got news that Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy are kind of being promoted to oversee the entire Destiny universe, like the entire IP kind of in general. And that means expanding Destiny into other forms of media. You want to sit? You want to sit? Okay. Don't stand on the table. It's going to fall over. So that has gotten everybody's hopes up about Destiny moving into potentially TV and film, whether that's a potential Destiny anime or a Destiny live action series or a Destiny blockbuster trilogy. Who knows? I mean, we've already gotten some comics and stuff. Maybe we'll start getting like Destiny Universe novels, things like that. But the overall point is that they are very committed to Destiny going forward. And I think like they didn't explicitly confirm this, but I think it's safe to say that they are committed to Destiny past Lightfall, which is the 2022 expansion after 2021's Witch Queen. And players were wondering, like, okay, well, are they just going to like kill Destiny and move on from there after that to new IPs? Destiny is pretty much what has made all this possible. Destiny is a massively successful game. I know we all complain about it, and we see player population going down and fret about how many people are playing Trials on a given weekend. But it is a hugely popular game that has a pretty solid revenue model between expansions, seasons, and its microtransaction store. And then people just have a lot of faith in Bungie in general as a studio. They attracted a $100 million investment from NetEase, so that's helped allow for things like this too. So Bungie is in a very good spot when, in a time when we're seeing games canceled and studios shut down and things like that. And this is pretty much only good news. And I do think it serves to reinforce the future of Destiny as a franchise, what exactly that means, whether they're going to do a full Destiny 3 after Lightfall, or they're just going to merge the whole Destiny universe into one Destiny thing with no number. But I'm very, very, very confident now that Destiny is just not going to end after Lightfall. I don't think that was really ever the plan, even though that was what some people were kind of assuming. In terms of what the day-to-day running of Destiny, Justin Truman is mentioned in the press release as being he's general manager of Destiny, and it appears he's going to take over Mark Noseworthy's old role in terms of who is Destiny 2 game director going forward, if Luke Smith has been promoted to be like grand overseer of the Destiny universe. There is not anyone specifically named in the press release there, but using the powers of deduction, you might guess that the guy writing the big giant state of the game post this coming season, something that Luke Smith wrote, a year or so ago, whenever that was, could be that guy at some point, even if that has not happened yet and is not announced yet. That is Joe Blackburn, who is assistant game director right now. That is not confirmed. That is not stated yet. And that could be something that happens later, as this process moves forward. But he is obviously a pretty safe bet to be paired with Justin Druman in terms of running the game going forward. I don't know what Mark and Luke's involvement will be. I assume they're still going to be consulting and guiding, the universe in some way. It just might not be Luke actively directing the game, the way he is now. If I see one Sunset Luke Smith comment, I swear to God, don't even go there. I think everybody has done a great job to get us to this point, and it's going to keep going great going forward, I think. And there's always going to be ups and downs no matter who's running things. So everyone chill, and we'll see what happens with any official announcements of that. But that's where it seems like things are going. They also announced that they are planning to have at least one new IP out by 2025, which, that's 4 years away, 3 years. Can't do math. So we don't know what that is. That is probably the biggest one that we know about is Matter. They have more than one IP going. Chris Barrett is running Matter, I believe. We don't really know much about it. The job listings indicated something that sounds a little more lighthearted, something that is definitely multiplayer. The theory is that it may be more PvP focused than Destiny, which is not very focused on PvP very much lately. So most of the PvP guys may be working on that. That's, Bungie's PvP is kind of its thing. So that would not surprise me if that happens. I do not know what other new IPs they could be working on or how far along those may be, or if Matter will even be the one that comes out first. We don't know how development's going or anything like that. In terms of the whole overall Destiny universe stuff, I've heard that we won't see the results of that for probably at least a year, but we may hear about what they're thinking about that this year sometime. I don't know when that's happening, but so don't expect some Netflix show or something to debut in a month or something that they've been secretly prepping. I don't imagine that's going to happen. But then to also kind of bolster this new media entertainment thing, they've brought on a couple of people, but namely a CBS executive. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she is someone who has worked in entertainment and media for a very long time. I have no idea what form this would take, if this would be adapting existing Destiny stories we already had, if this would be spin-offs based on characters we know, if this could be some, prequel set in the Dark Ages or whatever. There's so much here, it could be anything. I think Destiny storytelling and story in general has gotten a lot better as time has gone on. So I would be surprised if they just straight up adapted Destiny 1 to start with, because it's kind of a nonsense story that was gutted and reworked at the last minute. I don't know where they would maybe jump into the story or how they would handle things like us being a generic kind of faceless, nameless at least, guardian who doesn't speak very often. If we, our character would even be something in that in the first place. I could probably do a whole separate video about potential media projects for Destiny, but that is what we're planning. And, we've seen this is kind of all the rage right now, where after decades of just terrible video game movies that both movie studios and streaming services and stuff have a lot of faith now in at least attempting a lot of video game adaptations. Their Sonic the Hedgehog movie was extremely good, surprisingly enough, and The Witcher, while not a straight adaptation of the games, was influenced by the games to some extent and got a big fan base from the games. That was a huge hit for Netflix. HBO is committed to a Last of Us adaptation. Netflix is doing a Division movie. I could go on forever, but the point is video game properties are hot right now in terms of adaptation. So I think Bungie wants to get in on that and utilize its engaged fan base to make whatever they produce a hit, whether that's a show or a movie or a book series. I'll write a Destiny book series if you want, Bungie. Just hit me up. I haven't exactly sold a ton of copies, but I know the lore. I'm a good pick. So that's my pitch. They're not going to pick me. there's a ton of great sci-fi authors that would be really good at making Destiny books that I would love to read. That would be very cool. And then maybe you write the books and then you adapt those books because they're narratively structured more closely to movies and shows. Then you could adapt those into actual features. I still would be really open to Destiny anime on somewhere like Netflix. Video game animes have been pretty big these days, like Castlevania and Dragon's Dogma. And there's a Dota animated series, I think, on Netflix. And again, I'm talking about all the entertainment stuff. So again, I could go down that rabbit hole forever. The overall news here is this is very good news for both Bungie as a company, showing how extremely healthy they are, at least at the current moment. I mean, you can obviously, misuse resources and all this expansion might not work out, as is the industry, but this is certainly good news right now. It seems like good news for Destiny players because it seems to show that, Destiny has gotten Bungie to this point. There's no way they would have gotten here without Destiny being a massive success. And it does not seem at all likely that they would just kind of abandon Destiny to move on to new IPs. I think Destiny will continue to be their main focus because that's where they built their player base. I think they'll probably try and be like Riot Games, where, Riot has League of Legends, but hey, they have Valorant now too, which is not really taking away from League of Legends. It's just a separate, really awesome thing that they are also good at. That is what I think Bungie is probably going to try to do here. I would, obviously love to see other games that are my specific interest set. I don't know if I would be as excited about something that was like a pure PvP game. I'm thinking, if I think about BioWare, where it's like mostly focused on single player RPGs, where it's Dragon Age and Mass Effect, I would love, a different kind of Destiny adjacent game, something else with loot, something else with single player is at least a component. Not necessarily a live service forever game, because I don't have time for two of those, but, something that isn't just like, okay, here's a very, very hardcore PvP game that is not really my thing. That's just me personally. I know a lot of people would love that. If Bungie just focused entirely on PvP to make a really competitive shooter, that could, be what a lot of the current Destiny PvP players are looking for. What that would do to PvP in Destiny if they don't focus on it continuing to the way they are now, that might not be great. But if they're expanding this much, the idea is that they should be able to handle everything. This comes at the back of at least a very strong start for Season of the Chosen. And we, who knows what the next few seasons and what Witch Queen will look like. But, Destiny, at least at the very current moment, seems to be in a good place. There's always ups and downs, but this is just kind of more good news building on top of that for the studio overall. And if you're a fan of the company, if you're a fan of the games, like, this is something to celebrate. So I just wanted to make a brief video kind of adding to the article I already wrote about this and the stuff I was posting on Twitter. I literally just screenshotted the email and posted it because I hadn't seen anyone talk about it yet. But yeah, I think it's a press release now that you can find online. But those are kind of the main highlights, and it seems to be good news all around. So we'll see what other announcements could come in the wake of this. And I am going to do my title video probably tomorrow. I think I'm going to film a back-to-back video right now about Hawkeye from Avengers, so stay tuned for that. If you want to watch that, because they just did that reveal that I totally missed because it was the exact same time they launched the Secret Exotic Quest in Destiny. So I do want to talk about that, however, so I'll go into that in a minute here. But yep, thanks for watching. Evie's sleeping over there now. She made her cameo, but I will see you guys later.